All right, so with any luck, we're going. Right, are you going up there? Oh, right, okay. Hi. Right, I'm not entirely there yet. I've still got to set up my iPad for this side of things, but hopefully you can see me and hear me. I've made the mistake this week of not actually posting the link to myself, so I have to try and find my own live stream, which is a little bit embarrassing. There you go. Fortunately, it's up there at the top. There you go. And there I am clicking on the thing. So there we go. So that's, hey, this TT. I'm going to say hello. Hi. Hello. Yeah. So ta-da. There we go. We are live on a Sunday evening. It's quite nice, isn't it? Like it's Sunday evening gets the most of the day. Well, if you're kind of UK and Europe, it's evening. If you're in other time zones, that might not be how it is. Well, managed to do that without it disconnecting. Yeah. Oh, Lee Sweet. Now, message retracted. That's not good. But I was going to say Lee Sweet is a name I've never heard before. And I was going to say hello, but then, well, retracted is better than the redacted, I suppose, if you put it that way. But right, anyway, right. Let's just in case don't know what. Oh, there's 10 people watching so far. Hi, 10 people. If you want to just do warm up or something, just kind of roll lightly while I'm talking away, muttering away at you for the next 13 minutes before we start, please do. Because usually I spend the next 13 minutes firefighting some kind of tech issue, which, to be fair, we're not quite there yet. So there still is a good chance that the next 13 minutes are going to be me banging on buttons. As long as someone reminds me that I have to set my phone, the Smart Row here, to broadcast to EXR, okay? Because as you can see, by what's going on here. It's Tobias again. Tobias, my head might be gone. If it is, then my apologies if it is. But you were the one, you were watching, or you left a couple of comments when I was doing the half marathon run the other day, weren't you? In which case, thank you very much. It was very nice. Only like 2, 3, 4 people kind of watched at any point because I didn't announce it. I just did a half marathon. But the people that did end up watching me running a half marathon on Zwift, it really did mean a lot that a few people were there. So anyway, yes. So as you can see, ta-da, I'm on the water rower this week. I kind of rotate. If you're new to, hi, welcome to RowAlong. If you're new to these 5 o'clock group rows, then, oh, right, like this, I'll just call it, I'll stop. Lee Sweets, hello from the US. New RowAlonger. I should be able to say my own brand, shouldn't I? But long time watcher. Well, hello Lee, how are you? It's nice to have you. And actually, thank you very much for coming all the way from the States, okay? So you're so far away and you've come all the way into my wee studio. It's so nice of you. But the whole point of doing these at 5 o'clock in the evening here in Scotland time is so that I can try and get to row along with some US folks because I love you all and I want to be able to row with you. So speaking of people I love, there's CBDBDBDBDB. Hello, you're always here. You're kind of like a little talisman. It's always great to see you. Second EXR live row today. Good grief. I hope you made sure to hydrate and all that stuff. Yeah, so where was I? So I'm on the water rower. And so what I do is I rotate. I've got a water rower, I've got the Concept 2, and I've got an RP3 Model T, and I tend to rotate through them and kind of change what machine I'm rowing on, and so that you can see all 3 of them because there's so many different machines. And I'll talk about stuff like that during today's row. But yeah, so that's why I'm on this one today. So don't be like, oh, well, he's in a water rower. I thought he was on a Concept 2, but really, when it comes to rowing machines, in fact, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to continue this chat in the main row. Stop distracting me. So let's. Oh, okay. Todd Kaminsky. Is it Kaminsky? I'm just going to say Kaminsky. It's a Y on the end, so it might be Kaminsky, but I would have said Kaminsky. So. Hello from New Jersey. Hey, you know, I was watching the part 1 of the Bon Jovi Thank You and Good Night story last night. Obviously them being Sayreville, New Jersey. So yeah, so New Jersey's always been, just because of the Bon Jovi links, I was a huge Bon Jovi fan back in the 80s and 90s, so I've always kind of had that and Kevin Smith. New Jersey's always been I've always kind of liked New Jersey. But I've always been that kind of, even when I was like a teenager or whatever, I've always kind of, I think I wanted to be like in America. And I wanted to live in New York and all that kind of stuff, not be stuck in Milngavie in Glasgow in Scotland. But you know, it's always, the grass is always greener somewhere else. Not that there's much grass in New York, of course, apart from Bryant Park. I really like that. Right. I seem a bit hyper today, and the reason is that I love Bon Jovi. How fantastic! Yeah. It's a shame that they've kind of fallen off the edge, haven't they? I don't want to be throwing too much shade at Bon Jovi because he's obviously doing whatever he's doing. But basically, when they New Jersey and Keep the Faith, whereas they're absolutely at the prime, and then when like Alec the bassist went, and just all kind of, and then obviously when Richie went, and it's now just not quite, and his voice isn't as good as it should be, and you think, not that I'm saying you should call it quits or anything, but you kind of just go, oh, is he just not quite? Anyway. Right, I can't remember what I was just saying, so I'm going to have to just move on with my life. Really can't remember. I was saying something. Oh, it was food, wasn't it? Hyper, yeah. So basically, I've had most of May as a kind of like a cooling down period after training really, really hard for high rocks and stuff. And I've got another training block coming up. So May, I've kind of backed right off. And I discovered today that I still had half of an Easter egg left. And basically, I ate it before start today, and I think I'm in a bit of a chocolate high. So basically, I'm going to do this row today, and then I'm going to go for a run to try and burn off the half an Easter egg I ate. Oy. Okay, right, so I'm going to have a little drink. Now I'm going to connect up my tech. Hopefully, I'm not going to go offline as I do this. So connect heart rate monitor. So if I start, I actually have a lot of tech on today. I will explain that in a second, but I'm just going to start that. So I've got my MyZone on my chest, but I'm going to go, actually I'm going to go for the, oh, it's disappeared. So I won't. I was about to say I'll go for the MyZone, but it just disappeared on me. So I'll go for the Epix Pro, which is my Garmin watch, which is mostly okay on my wrist. Right, connect rower. So this is the one that, this is where things can fall apart. Lift the handle up to make sure that the pulley is showing blue, so it means that the Smart Row pulley is on it. Because that's, in case you're new to me and the water rower, I use the Smart Row pulley on it. So that basically means that the water and all that kind of stuff is really just a means to make the Smart Row pulley know how much force I'm putting in. There's nothing going on in terms of the calculation of the blades turning around or whatever. And because it's a force monitor and it knows how much it's turning and whatever, because obviously it's all based on the pulley, it is super duper accurate. So if you have a water rower and you are, right, hang on, I've got to, I know, search again, shush. Hang on, 1 second, I'm gonna get this right first because this is the part that I always mess up. So my Smart Row's connected, heart rate monitor is connected. Don't know what one it's connected to, but apparently so. Now go to broadcast, EXR, apply. And this time I will go to search again, and there we go. Woo! Smart Row. If it's going to see it, and then, right, and I'm going to stick with the rower data rather than EXR split. I say this every week, and every week I say I should really actually speak to Maxim or one of the devs or someone and say, what would you rather I did here? But I'm going to stick with that. Right, and then sunset row or RowAlong has just kicked in, so I can do let's go. And hopefully that's going to load up the world. But the other important thing to do is on my Smart Row app is to set it to just row and then do start. And as long as I don't pull the handle or anything, nothing's going to happen. But that then keeps the connection alive. Hey, look at all the people here tonight. My best Dave Lee Roth impression. What was I saying? Yeah, so Smart Row, because it's a mix of, so if you watch just part 1 of 2, you only got to the Bon Jovi point. Well done. Because of course, if I've only watched 1 of 2, I am halfway there, the Bon Jovi point, which is something I always say when I get halfway through a workout, we're at the Bon Jovi point. Well done. Give yourself a little round of applause there for that one. That was very funny. You've made me smile. Yeah. So where are we? We've got 5 minutes to go, so that's fine. Remember, anybody new how many, there's 8 more people who turned up on the live thing for the time being. Make sure just do some light rowing. I'm going to start off very light in today's row anyway, so you could always just sit there and have a cup of coffee and start along with me. Yeah, so I've got 4 minutes and I'm going to try and get to the end of this story. So because Smart Row is within the pulley, it's a force monitor, so it knows how much force is going into it, and because obviously the amount of time it turns, it knows what your stroke length is and all that kind of stuff, and how many and what your stroke rate, etc. is. It means that as long as they've got their maths right in terms of calculating all the algorithms, etc. within its kind of tech and the app and all that stuff, then it is incredibly accurate. Some would say more accurate than a Concept 2, because of course the Concept 2 is all about drag factor versus how many times the fan rotates and whatever. So it's a kind of there's 2 ways. It's basically oh God, they told me the actual words and I'm going to mess it up. It's a direct calculation from the Smart Row pulley, because it's literally direct for that, but it's an inferred calculation, is that right? That's not the right word, but because it's using data and stuff that's happened afterwards to then work out what you've just done and whatever for a Concept 2 and an RP3 and things. Anyway, so that basically means the Smart Row is super duper accurate. It wasn't that exciting a story, really, was it, to be waiting all that time? Where are we then? Let's get feet in. That seems fine. Remember, if you change your shoes, if you use different shoes when you are rowing, always have a look and check your foot straps to make sure that they're still at a different height. Because these Puma shoes have a tiny little point, strange little thing at the back of them, which actually makes them artificially long. Not artificially, because they obviously are long, but they're slightly longer than like my other normal size 10 shoes. So when I wear these, they sit slightly higher, so I have to drop the foot plates down like 1 extra notch because they're higher. So if you change your shoes, check that. Or if you suddenly go, today I'm going to row in my socks, then obviously your feet are going to be less long. Shorter would be the bit more popular word for that. So there's the thing. And remember, if you have no one's ever told you this before, then the ballpark for where you should be setting your straps is that it covers the balls of your feet, okay? So the widest part of your foot is, and like, I don't want to treat you like an idiot here, but I'm talking the widest, not the tallest, because the amount of people I see who had the straps really high, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing on my foot, you can't really because it's so small, but had the straps really high up on the arch of their foot, almost as though someone said to them, the biggest part of the foot, and they went, all right, okay, up here's the biggest part. But no, the balls of your feet, so kind of just below the crease of your toes and things, or often the bottom lace in your shoe. Now, in my case, I'm actually, the straps here and the bottom lace of the shoe, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not swearing at you, about 1.5 inches apart, so that's not quite, oh look, El Rossi's just making a run for it. So yeah, so it's not always the same, but what I'd say is the ballpark, that's where to set it, and then adjust for comfort and make sure that you're happy, because it's all very good, some oaf here telling you that's where to set them, but if you're like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable now, then obviously adjust. Bearing in mind, with a minute to go, we're gonna have another drink. Hang on, cheers. The point is that you set them to a position where you're able to come forwards with your shins in vertical position, or in my case close here, but I'm not very warm, comfortably without your heels coming too high up off the foot plates. If you get into that shins vertical position and your heels are massively off, like almost like kind of parallel with the floor, there's a good chance that your feet are set too high. I'm going to talk to you more about that in today's row as well. Right, Stevie, I'm assuming that's Stevie, S-T-V-Y. You just made it in time, Stevie, with 20 seconds to go. So 74 people have pre-registered for today. Don't know how many people are there, but there's loads of folks on the water. I'm going to start off, I'm guessing, probably around about 2:10 pace, but let's see what happens in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Right. Oh, first stroke of the day is always a little bit sticky, isn't it? Right, so I'm going to spend, it's a half-hour row, so I can't spend too long warming up, but I'm going to spend a few minutes just getting my body into the right positions here, warm up a bit, because my hips are a bit so, I'm like Alsatians with hip dysplasia. That's how I feel today. I'm not stretching right after I'm doing my running training, so I've got a little bit of, let's just say, discomfort to my hips. Yeah, so I'm going to spend, what am I down at? 2:15 pace. So I'll just roll 2:15 for a couple of minutes. Try and get that nice, kind of get a bit eased off in terms of, because that tilt forwards and backwards over my hips, along with the compression into the front, that's where it suffers for me. But I'm not going to do this sprint because it's too soon. We're only a minute into this row and I'm not going to start sprinting. I might sprint the next one that comes up. The ghosts are back. That's nice. Although there does seem to be a little bit of a sticky graphic going on, but there are loads of people sprinting. Yeah, so you need to, when you're warming up, concentrate on the tilt forwards over your hips. So hands away and tilt forwards. Arms tilt. To get that forwards, kind of, you shifted your center of gravity towards the front of the machine. And then you can think about, is that someone in a Christmas hat? Come on, too soon. I'm gonna, ooh, all right, oh, whatever, sorry. Yeah, so forwards tilt, and then get nice and comfortable with that compression. And even if you're not quite getting to shins vertical, like where am I? It's the handy thing about streaming this actually, is that I can take a look at my own shins. Yeah, so I'm kind of almost vertical. And you can just work, because we're only, what, 2.5 minutes in? And usually I'll do a warm up for like 10 minutes, 2K, to make sure my body is properly eased up. It doesn't take me, 10 minutes to do a 2K. I'm just saying I spend 10 minutes or 2,000 meters going through a warm up for my own stuff. Most of my row along workouts, I'll tend to only do a 4 or 5 minute warm up, unless it's a fast one. Then I'll go up to 10. But the reason for that is mostly, to be honest, that I don't want people to get bored with the video. Like putting in a 10-minute warm-up, people are like, oh, really? Get on with it, man. So, but it is important that you let your body ease into it, especially for something like rowing, where depending on the intensity that you intend to row at. Now there's Nigel B. I wonder whether that's Nigel Brockton. I'm going to assume so. Probably won't be. But I know Nigel Brockton. He rows. I'm pretty sure he's on EXR. So I'm going to assume that Nige B is Nigel Brockton. And if you are, and if you're in the the unlikely, what's the word, John? Come on. Likelihood, the unlikely likelihood. That's not right. Anyway, if you're watching the live stream and it is you, oh yeah. And I can actually, I'll segue slightly into this one. I'll stop talking about warm-ups. Oh, I didn't start this watch. Oh, whatever. I currently am I'm in the last week of running an online rowing competition called The Grid. Search for it, it's at Competition Corner. There's a week to go, please enter. Numbers aren't that great this time around. Raising money for the World Cancer Research Fund. And it was Nigel Brockton who suggested that would be a good, because I was raising money for cancer research anyway. And Nigel was the one that said that the way they work with people in terms of their bodies and recovery and all that stuff. He told me, I can't remember. Anyway, so he suggested that's who it was. And been in touch with the UK ones, obviously, about this. And they've asked me to be an ambassador. Isn't that nice? Last time round, I managed to raise £1,000 for the World Cancer Research Fund. But I think right now, we've only had like 60 entries, maybe not even that. So that's going to be more like £500 or £600. Which, listen, I'm sure the World Cancer Research Fund people aren't going to turn around and say, oh no, it's more than £1,000 or nothing. But I kind of wanted to raise more. But it's my own fault. I think, apart from all of us today, tonight, this morning, wherever you are, who are still on our rowing machines and whatever, I think there's a large number of people who are either now rowing on the water, or now that the weather's improved, that they are now doing things like cycling or running or whatever outside, so there's less people. So next time, I'll run it again in October during the season, but next time I'll make it April for the spring, summer version of it. Anyway, that's enough of that. I say the weather has improved, and I don't want to be stereotypically British today and start talking about the weather, but oh my word, it's horrendous out there. Just rain, rain, rain. After I spent most of last week out on my kayak filming scenic rowing videos on canal and lochs in Scotland in gorgeous sunlight, big blue skies, fluffy white clouds, and so for it to now be 13 degrees and rain is a little disappointing, but it's all right. As from tomorrow, I'm back to the day job anyway. Back in, strapped to an edit suite instead of out making scenic rowing videos. So do check them out and let me know whether you enjoy them, by the way. I certainly enjoy making them, so I'm not going to stop making them. But it'd be good to know if you enjoyed rowing along to them. One thing the last one I did on the canal, I was listening to a podcast by a guy called Craig Harper. It's the U Project. It's a really good podcast if you like your kind of sport and mental strength type of podcast. The U Project is definitely worth listening to, but I was talking with one guy, one doctor, and they kind of got onto the subject of people who believe something, like a training thing or something about nutrition or health or whatever, something that they learnt maybe 10, 20 years ago, and even though science has moved on and proved them wrong for whatever their belief was, they just, no matter what, they will believe what they were taught at school. And that kind of blinkered approach to anything is not good. I wouldn't want a doctor or something to be like that. I'd like a doctor to be reading recent research. Otherwise, they'd still be sticking leeches on us and doing like bloodletting if you've got a cold and things. But it kind of chimes with me in that kind of a year and a half ago, in fact, I'm making a video right now reviewing the Aviron rowing machine that I've started to work with Aviron for a lot of my RowAlong workouts, and so I'm just doing a review video just for free because I like it. And I start off by saying that if you'd have told me 2 years ago that I'd be sitting on a spaceship about to make a video suggesting how good it is, I would have laughed in your face and then said something about how thou shalt only row on a Concept 2. But, and this is the link of what I'm saying about that podcast. 18 months ago was when I started to talk to the water rower people, specifically the smart row people, about this system. And I was kind of saying, I've only used a water rower once, didn't like it, don't think I'd want to use one. And they convinced me to give it another try. So I was that kind of blinkered Concept 2 only kind of rower. I had used a water rower before, but once I got this, I realized the water rower I'd used before was broken because it was clunky and the foot plates were too low and you couldn't adjust them. And there was just lots wrong with it. And so it kind of put a chink in the armor of me in a Concept 2, where I really was, everything was Concept 2 for me. And then quite soon, or not soon, maybe 3 or 4 months later, the RP3 people got in touch and asked if I'd like a loan of a machine for a couple of months, basically for the same purposes that water rower had, in terms of saying, come on, try our machine. You've been on a water rower, try the RP3. And so I did. And then a couple of months later, the Aviron people got in touch. Although I do think they had a plan, because I got their machine to try, and then they were like, so would you like to make some content for our platform? Because it's the Aviron's one of the ones with a built-in screen. And so I now make like the guided workouts for their system, which is quite cool. And anyway, so what I'm saying is, not only did using the water rower kind of open the door, or at least close the door on that rigid, I shall only ever row in a Concept 2, but it made me think of machines in a completely different way, in that as long as you can get through the full range of motion. So that means arms straight, forwards tilt as you roll forwards. And you can get into that nice position at the front. You don't have to choke your stroke. And then a full drive all the way back. It doesn't stop you short or anything. And you have some form of resistance that builds with you. So like the water rower is kind of similar to a concept too, in that I get out of it what I put into it. So if I push hard, oh, I missed there, push, the weight, the resistance feels more than when I'm just rowing at this pace. That makes sense? I hope so. And then it's just down to, between these 4 machines I now have, I realize that each one has its own kind of special purpose. You use the concept too if you are training for the World Championships, or high rocks, or CrossFit, or you also row in a gym, or you only row in a gym. And so that's what you have access to. And I mean, concept 2 is the gold standard. So as much as I love all 4 machines, I think if somebody said you can only have one, I still go concept 2. But then, like the Aviron is perfect for people who row not because they're rowers, but because they want distracted or motivated or whatever while on the machine. And it's not about looking at data in front of them. All the games and things that come on it are perfect for that. Well, hang on, we've got sprint coming up. All right, 75 meters. I'm going to sprint this one. 2 more strokes to go. 1 more. All right, let's see what I can get up to in the water rower. I wasn't far off the world record. Whew. Right. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the RP3, that's perfect for on the water training. If you want something that feels the same as being out in a boat, then the RP3 hits that for you, as does a Concept 2 Dynamic or a Concept 2 on slides, but I don't have them. And then the water rower is perfect for being quiet, looks amazing, so it's stylish, it's cool. And actually, there is something about the stroke profile on a water rower that if you pay attention and you look at your force curve, then you really need to get your stroke tight to get maximum power and work out from it, because if you swing too early on a water rower, the power just dies once you get through that first half of your leg drive. On a water rower, it just goes. You need that backswing to come in and really continue the power profile through it in a way that even the Concept 2 will forgive you if you can kind of just pull on the arms. A water rower doesn't. So there's a real need for a tighter technique on a water rower. It's actually similar with an RP3 as well, where you can absolutely fade at the back. But with an RP3, it's all about making sure you connect and push your legs into the machine. If you try and just brute force a pull on an RP3, you go nowhere. It's really interesting. It is about pushing the machine away with your feet, because literally on an RP3, that's what happens. You sit where you are and you push the machine away. And that actually brings me to something I wasn't going to talk about, to be honest, but I made a couple of videos this weekend, technique-wise. First one being only like 60, 70 seconds long. But the first one was about heel lift. Can you lift your heels when you're rowing? The answer is yes. But provided when you go for the leg drive, bump, you get those heels down, bump, and you drive through, bump, your whole foot. But also, provided that the reason your heels are coming up is just about flexibility as you come forwards. And it's not because you have a rubbish posture. Because if you are tilted backwards, in order to get shins vertical, oh, my iPad's about to die. Whoopsie. Your heels come right up because of the change of angles between your hips, your knees, and your ankles. And that, I don't want your heels to come up for. But if you have that good posture, hips tilted forwards, and a slight raise of your heels, that's okay. Just get your feet down and push. Which then brings me to the second video I made. And also goes back to what I was talking about with the podcast, where for years I've been talking about the drive at the front as being similar to a deadlift, but never really interrogated that. Like, how similar is it? And so I made a video today where I got into the catch position, I took a freeze frame, then filmed a deadlift, took a freeze frame when I was at the bottom, and overlaid the two to see just how similar it is. And it really isn't. It's kind of the idea of straight arms, bent legs, and a powerful back. That's the same, but the actual angles aren't that similar. But what is similar is that you need to drive through your heels with straight arms and a connected posterior chain, both on the rowing drive, so arms straight, forward tilts, push through the heels, and that sends the power from your legs through your body and into the machine. Push! So it's all accelerate, finish, because you're pushing from your legs. And it's the same with the deadlift. In order to lift that bar off the ground, you keep your arms straight, you connect your posterior chain, and you push, driving through your heels to lift the bar. So it's that's what's the same between rowing and a deadlift. It's not actually the same position you're in. I mean, check it out, it's on the YouTube channel. And you'll see it. It's only 68 seconds long. You can watch it while you're stretching or when you come out the shower, whatever. If you do watch it, let me know. Not whether you watch it after a shower, I don't want to know that. But let me know if you enjoyed it. Tell me if you enjoyed the shower. Maybe it was you had a nice eucalyptus. Don't. Anyway, And I've got one more to come. Made another one about if somebody posts a video of them rowing on like the Concept 2 indoor rowing hub or whatever, then loads of people will pile on and offer their tips and advice. Commonly, people will row where they come forwards, but they swing their back too soon, so they don't get that connection. Fair enough. But loads of people will make the error of bending their knees before the hands come past those knees, okay? Where's everybody? Am I being left behind by everyone? Oh, too busy talking to you. Anyway, but people will say that, they'll spot it and say, oh, don't bend your knees before your hands have passed your knees, right? But most of them, you'll say, why is that? And they'll go, oh, I don't know. It's just something I've always been told to do, is get hands past knees. It's something about the recovery or... Because the truth is, it makes no difference to the power you've just put into the machine, whether you get hands away and bend your knees, or whether you bend your knees and then get your hands away. That drive I just put in is that drive I just put in. It's the next one that matters. And how it matters is your posture, how you set yourself up for the next stroke. I just spoke about posture with the feet, heels coming up. And so if you bend your knees first, what happens is your hips are pointing backwards. Whee! And you need to somehow get from here into that forwards tilt again, which you can do-ish, but you'll lose that connection. And what you also lose is consistency of your stroke, because you're kind of coming forwards and you're like, whoa, lurch, whoa, here we go. Oh, it's like a roller coaster. I'm feeling seasick now. Whereas, if you get your arms away, the momentum of which helps with that forwards tilt over your hips, so that you are in the perfect position for the next stroke as you bend your knees. Ta-da! And that is why your hands come past your knees. We're done. Oh, I had more to talk about. I need to extend these to 45 minutes, I think, because that was too short. I know I could keep on rowing, but I'm going to stop here just because I said I want to go for a run next. So yeah, so anyway, that's the point of that one. Keep on rowing, everybody who's watching. It's like 16 of you are still watching. Keep on going and like cool down and all that stuff. Make sure that you are hydrated and whatever, or maybe you're going to keep on rowing for a wee while. I mean, there's loads of people still out there in the water, so just keep on going. Go, hey, there's so and so. Yeah, and then, am I done? I'm not done, am I? Should I keep rowing? It's a sprint I've hit. Oh, for goodness sake, John. Can somebody not have typed, keep going, you idiot? Are we done? No, we're not. There's still a little bit more to go. Is that clock still going? Oh, whatever. Is that the finish line up ahead? Oh. No, that's the finish line for the sprint. Henley arrival distance is 400 away. Oh. Listen, you know the reason that I've gone quiet and I just keep on making noises? Is that I am mortified that that just happened. How many people are sitting there? There we go, this will be the finish, won't it? Because I stopped for a minute. Ah, you idiot. What a doofus. What a colossal doofus. I'm going to blame it on the fact that as much as I love the water rower, I can't have my I can't have anything, like, because I've got currently just using the basic A1 model because I prefer the monorail rather than the performance one that has the dual rail. So it means that my Mac is to the side with it running on it, so I didn't kind of see it in front of me, and I got a little bit, but yeah, that's embarrassing, isn't it? Oh well. I'll try. See, the problem is that it means the ones that do the 9 o'clock in the morning ones that I've been rowing with since like December we started this, they all know that I'm an idiot, all right? We've spent all these Sunday mornings together, and I've kind of been messing up connections, and I've been whatever and whatever. They're firmly aware that I'm a complete idiot doofus. However, we're opening this up to the other side of the world, to all you folks in the US or wherever else you're watching. I'd kind of hoped that I'd like give it a couple of weeks before you all realise what an idiot I am. I've lasted 2, and now you're all like, okay. But you know what? I kind of pride myself on the fact that I'm an idiot, because there's enough professional guys out there, all right? If you want someone who's a proper kind of, well, literally an all-American guy, there's 2 guys out there that they're much bigger and more professional and shinier and younger than me. So if you want them, they're there for you. So, but if you want there's a level of jeopardy. I think that's what it is with me. That's where it comes down to, is that you get RowAlong jeopardy. What's going to go wrong today? All right. What's he going to do? What's going to? And today it was I stopped early on my row. Idiot. Oh. Sorry. So in case you're not actually kind of on the live chat, so I've just got Nick Fox #mortified. Yep. And then Lee Sweet. We love the honesty. Yeah. Oh, you're such an idiot. Oh. I think back to, there's times in my life, you know, the embarrassing moments that things happen and you're like, oh, please make that didn't happen. And then you're like, and that's one of them where you're just like, this is why, frankly, when it all comes down to it, the fact that the Avalon people have taken a punt on me for me to make stuff for them. And I mean, to be honest, actually, on the Avalon, I am a lot more professional because I couldn't get away with this. But it shows that they've obviously they either don't watch what I do, or they're like, you know what, because they have like Austin from Training Tall, he also makes content for them. So they have the young, excitable bunny guy that kind of, like the young fella, he's strong, whatever, and eye candy, and everyone watches that. So they've got that covered anyway. So I kind of figured that the reason they asked me is because I'm an idiot, and because I guess I cater for the kind of 40 and above people that don't need someone kind of that's young and excitable. They just want someone that's going to just chat away about stuff. So yeah, I'm hoping. That's how I sleep at night. That's the story I tell myself in order to deal with moments like this, is I kind of go, yeah, people appreciate the fact I'm a doofus. But look, I've got it here in thing. Lee Sweet says that he loves the honesty. So at least one person out there gets it. Yeah. Anyway, right, sorry. But less me, more you. I hope that you enjoyed today's row. It was only half an hour long. I might see, let me know. Do you want me to try and speak to the EXR people and even like one row a month? Like maybe, because we are doing like, if you figure it's like pretty much 4 a month between kind of 9 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 5 o'clock, pretty much 4 months, right? If you want, I could do it so that it goes like the first 2 of a month are 30 minutes, the second 2 are 45 minutes. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Please let me know. And I'll get in touch with the EXR people and ask, because I don't want it to feel like it's a waste of time. Like I said just then, we got to the 30 minutes, even though we hadn't. And I was like, yeah, that's why it felt like it stopped so early. And I was like, yeah, I could have gone on, could have spoke more, could have had a better workout today or a longer workout, maybe not better, it was still a nice workout. It was a very, very zone 2 workout for me today. That was a nice one. Heart rate was slightly up, but not up too high. So I'm hoping it's helped burn off that chocolate orange Easter egg that, I'm going to use the word because I'm going to say it, it's an awful thing, I apologize, but I can be such a fatty sometimes. And the truth is that there is the Steventon gene, the male side of my family, Steventon side of it, basically we have a propensity, that's the right word, isn't it, to be on the larger side. So Dad had a bit of a stomach on him and whatever, and I get the feeling that I could be similar if I didn't, cause I am, and I have been. I mean, crikey, what, 2002 or something? I was like almost 17 stone, big fella. I've posted a couple of things on here about my weight loss journey like 20 odd years ago. Yeah, but it's just I do like biscuits and chocolate. Yeah, but back to proper training as of tomorrow. Like I say, I'm back to work, so I might as well get into the next training cycle. And so hopefully I'll kind of all go. Right, I'm going to go because it's quite uncomfortable to sit on a water roll like this, to be honest. I wish it was, as much as I like the monorail version, I wish it was a little bit higher because my knees are in my face. So I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I mean, there's still 15 of you watching, so only one of you's left, which is quite surprising. Oh, yeah, and I've only got 5% battery on my thing as well. So, all right, okay, so TT says 45, take up to that. CBDB start to do short AM rows and more interval training PM, so 30 minutes enough for her. Okay. iFaucet, 45, and CBDB's off. Bye, CBDB. Okay, I might suggest that flip-flop, because obviously CBDB, you don't have to row the whole 45. You can only do 30 minutes of it and then you can leave. No one's going to shout at you for that. No one's like taking a register. So, yeah, so I'll see what the extra people say. Maybe they're like, no, over summer, let's just keep it to 30. No. So I'm going to go because otherwise I'll just keep on adding in these little kind of epilogues. Epilogues? Yeah, because prologue is the first one, isn't it? And then epilogues at the end. Is that right? So I'm going to go, like I said, I want to go for a run. I'm going to do some interval training on the treadmill next. So I look forward to seeing you in the next one, whether that is next week at 9 o'clock in the morning UK time, or whether that's in 2 weeks' time at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, evening UK time. Who knows? But I will look forward to seeing you then. Remember, of course, if you miss my particular brand of nonsense, that if you go YouTube.com at RowAlong, you can find all of my workouts, and under the playlists or whatever the tabs, you'll see one of them says live, and that'll give you all of the historic live rows that I've done, so you can see how many times I've messed this up. Or if you go into the other playlist, you'll see all of the standard RowAlong workouts I do, where I kind of talk away and it's all structured and stuff, so you can get your whole world can be me, but don't want that. All right, Lee's off as well, so I'm going to go too. So Lee says, thanks, John, see you next time. And I'm going to say the same to you guys. Thank you so much for being part of RowAlong today. Have a fantastic Sunday, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care, be well, bye-bye. Now I've got to click goodbye on the thing. But we'll just pretend that this part doesn't happen, okay? So I'm going to hit stop streaming, and it'll say, are you really want to stop streaming? And I'll say yes. So